authenticity, right? And this idea of authentic, I feel like it's overplayed, but the way that she talked about it, it's important to just be yourself. You have to be you. And what it will happen organically is that you will attract people who appreciate your vibe, your personality, your nature, your, bubbliness, or, and vice versa. You're actually going to be turning away people who just don't vibe with you in that way.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the pragmatic convo I had with Whitney Lee in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to this episode yet, you should go back and do that, because Whitney Lee is a badass. She also just won some awards in Florida where she's like of the women to know, and the girl can dress. Nice. I'm just going to say it. So we love Whitney. Before we get into the interview, today is October 5th, which is 2 days after Brad and I celebrate our wedding anniversary of 8 years.
What? Holy cow.
I could be wrong on the math, but I'm pretty sure I'm dead fucking right.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways. We used to wonder if it was October 3rd or October 5th was our anniversary. We're pretty clear it's on the 3rd.
Yeah, it was on the 4th. Yeah.
Shut up. I really hope it was on the 3rd.
It was the 3rd. It was the 3rd.
It's in our calendar, guys. Don't worry. It tells us. And today is not only 2 days after our 8-year wedding anniversary, it is World Teachers Day and also World Meningitis Day. And because I thought both these are so important for you to know about, first of all, celebrate the teachers in your life. And many of you are listening to this podcast, so I celebrate all of you.
Yeah.
And by the way, if your parents did not freak the fuck out of you about kissing someone wrong in college and getting spinal meningitis, today is the day someone tells you, don't kiss the wrong person. You could die. I'm not trying to laugh. I've never heard of this.
People she said that to me. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
I was warned.
I thought you got like what was the sickness that you got?
Mono.
I thought you got mono from kissing people in college.
I got mono before I'd ever kiss someone, and you would not believe how much I had to convince my parents I did not kiss anybody to get mono, because all the fucking old wives' tales had them convinced I must have made out with someone. At any rate, I don't believe meningitis just come from kissing a frog. I do believe it does come from like college shit dorm rooms. So watch yourself. And if you're not in college, wash your hands. Okay.
Wash your hands.
Everyone should just wash their hands.
Yeah. College is a pandemic is what she's basically saying.
Well, life, it's got a lot of shit going on. But at any rate, washing your hands is never a bad thing.
It's never a bad thing.
Unless the water is shit. Okay. So we are currently in Cambodia.
Believe it or not.
So this is recorded ahead of time. Obviously. We are in Cambodia. Our retreat starts in a couple of days. Woo! We are so excited.
Oh, man.
The reality is that if you're wanting to come to the next retreat, we're only doing one next year.
Only doing one.
So here's the deal. We're going to actually open up the doors for the early bird special to
open up the doors. I'm just your hype man today.
Okay. Only those on the wait list.
Wait list.
Oh my God. It's a really bad DJ.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So seriously though, if you're on the wait list, you'll get the early bird special. So you want to be on the wait list, lesleylogan.co/retreat will get you there. We will be opening the doors in January for you to sign up. Space is limited because the reality is we only have so many rooms in our house and so many rooms in our neighbor's house.
It's true.
It's not their house. It's an actual bed and breakfast. But at any rate, and there's only so many seats on
we call it a guest house there. We don't call it a bed and breakfast.
They got a guest house.
Yeah, they have a guest house.
So yeah.
November.
Yeah. So then November, when we get back from Cambodia, we hit up Nashville for our own personal stuff. No, I'm not teaching. I love you, Nashville. We'll talk. Then I'm going to head to Chicago to meet up with Erica Quest the very first weekend of November. We're teaching at the Club Plaza on St. Charles. And if you are wanting tickets to that, as of the recording of this episode, we actually do not have the public link for you yet. So you'll want to just DM me to see if there's any spots left. And then it's Thanksgiving. So, thanks, you're giving. And then we're going to be in December on our winter tour. Now, the winter tour is super fun. Actually, the first weekend of December, I'm actually going to Frisco for our annual Frisco workshops with Erica Quest. Shout out to my babe again. Woo! And then I come back and then we load the van up and then we actually hit our winter tour up, which Texas, you'll be back in the limelight on the winter tour. So I expect to see you 2 times, no excuses. And if you want more information on the winter tour, actually, Brad can tell you where to go.
Yeah. So you're going to go to opc.me/tour.
And lastly, all of these things are awesome, but clearly sound like in-person events. It's not always possible. You might live somewhere amazing in the world. If you are a Pilates teacher, happy World Teacher Day. And also, I may have spots left in my mentorship program. I only offer it once a year. So if you are wanting to basically get some confidence in how you're teaching, make it easier to show up, teach, and enjoy the time outside of teaching and really progress your clients and also your amazing practice, then you'll want to go to leslielogan.co/elevate to hear more about my mentorship. It's pretty awesome. In fact, some people would call it a game changer. Those people would be Elevate people.
Yeah. You can also send her a DM.
You can send me a DM. It probably will keep you from ending up on just a wait list and making sure that you actually get the information before it kicks off, because once it kicks off, that's it, folks.
That's it, folks.
Till 2025. Whoa. Which is kind of nuts. So probably, and also we cannot guarantee what I'm doing in 2025.
That's true.
I'm an Aquarius, you guys. It's just how it goes. Anyways, before we talk about Whitney Lee, Brad, do we have an audience question?
We do. Right now, we just are wrapping up Agency Mini from Profitable Pilates.
I mean, it's very wrapped.
Yeah. Well, yes. At the time of recording, Alexis George asked, tips from keeping, what are tips to keep your clients moving and not talking as much?
Oh my gosh. Raise your hand unless you're driving. Only raise one hand. If your clients treat like they're a therapist.
Oh, I mean, I think that just comes with the job, right?
Well, here is the deal, my loves. And it's not like I didn't have clients who did this. And it's not like I didn't see some of my favorite teachers who I love and respect have clients who do this. Clients do this. However, it is out of your scope to actually therapize them. So you can listen with your ears. Yeah, it's weird. You can look it up. It's a word. If I were playing Scrabble, it's a word. And it's got a Z. So I would like all the points, please.
It's totally a word.
Yeah.
Subject to psychological therapy.
Yeah.
You don't need to therapize or fix each other.
Yeah, you don't. Unless you're actually a therapist and they're actually paying you for that. But what I find is like movement is where trauma leaves the body. And so there is going to be some discussion of things. They're not going to be silent. It's not, unless they're a silent person. And there are those people you're just like, do you like this? Do you like me? Is this working? And the truth is that their workout faces and their workout being is not actually a true barometer of how amazing your teaching is, nor is there talking too much. But what you can do, first of all, I love exercises that make them have to focus. So you can actually go, hey, I want to hear the story.
So did you say coordination? I'm pretty sure you said coordination.
How's that going for you, Brad?
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah. You're doing it all at the same time?
Right.
And then at the different time?
I did it wrong.
Did it wrong.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. Thank God for flashcards. Anyways, so you pick an exercise that makes them have to think. So first of all, I let my clients absolutely tell me everything about their day, their neighbors, that, the weekend lives in their building and all that shit during footwork. Because guess what? When the 100 comes, they have to shut the fuck up. They have to. This is where you all, even if you're a contemporary teacher, can I just say, steal the footwork through the 100. It will help, because the footwork, they can talk. It's fine. You're just looking at seeing what their body's doing anyways. And then 100, they cannot breathe in for 5 and out for 5 and pump their arms at the same time and tell you about their day unless they're fucking amazing. And therefore, that story must be worth hearing. And so I will actually make a joke like, oh, wow, you really want to tell me the story while you're counting to 100? I'm impressed. And it kind of gets them to go, oh, I am supposed to count to 100. Because I always say, and if you've been to any class on my tours, I say, I have never counted to 100 ever in my 15-year career. And today is not the day I'm doing that. So these things are really helpful just to bring people back to it. But also, again, because they're moving, trauma is going to leave the body. They don't know what that trauma is. And so they're often just like talking because they don't know what they're feeling. And so it's a little weird. And some people are verbal processors. Hello, I'm one of them. So I actually talk to Jay on a Zoom class with 6 other people there. I'm like, it's too quiet. Let me tell the story. So I hear you. Here's another tip. Don't ask an actual question back. Just say, oh, wow, that must have been really difficult, period. So if you don't ask a question back, or when you speak, you just bring them back to the exercise. And if they ask you a question, full permission, just go, oh, I haven't thought about that. Let me think about it and get back to you. Like you can actually just go, let me think about it and get back to you. You don't have, and if they ask anything, you just go, look, this is really important that I progress you and you get your goals. Unless you just really love hanging out with me and paying for that, I really want to make sure you get your goals.
Yeah.
And that really helps because the thing is, if they don't reach their goals, if they ever have a bad day and their package is due and they're having bad money trouble, you're on the chopping block. So it's really important to bring it back to it. And it's difficult. You have to train them how to treat you, but it is possible. And again, make them work. They can't speak at the same time. Okay. I love it. If you have questions, send them in.
Send in a DM.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Whitney Lee. Whitney Lee is the founder of True Story.
I love
And
that
she's
name.
a seasoned PR expert who champions authentic connections. She simplifies complex strategies, empowering business owners to navigate challenges with an effective approach.
Okay. Well, I'm going to jump in.
Do it.
I love some stuff. First of all, of course, I love this stuff. She said, she was giving advice about understanding your audience. And whether you are listening to this as a business owner or listening to this as a person who is trying to get donation money for your nonprofit, or I don't know, get your family to understand that you don't want to go to their house for Thanksgiving. Just saying. It's extremely important that you understand the audience you're trying to serve, trying to get to understand that you are the right thing for them, that your way is better than the highway. It's really, really important you understand them and their goals and their needs. And so she said, be very clear on who you serve. For example, if you're serving moms between 30 and 45, use that information. And especially now, moms today at 30 to 45 often have young kids. So if this was the 80s, my grandmother would be in this age group. But today, they're often they worked really hard, they made their money, and they are having kids later. So what do these moms need? These are moms who used to have a whole life before they had kids. They actually had time to themselves. I just watched a reel where this mom told her kids to draw a picture for sleeping. And then she took a nap while they're drawing. These moms they know what it's like to have been young and partying and then also now not be that. So get information. And then if you can't find the information you're looking for, you should ask them, because customers and consumers don't think the way that business owners think. They're not thinking in the marketing and PR terms. So you can't think like yourself. You have to think like them. And so sometimes you just have to ask them, why are you here? How'd you find this? Why do you keep coming back? What is this doing for you? I know that sounds weird, but it's really fun. And I often would ask my clients this, especially when they would refer me people that I'm like, how the fuck did this person come in my doors? So I'm like, oh, tell me more about what you told your friend about what we do here. And then I heard oh, I come and it's super relaxing. And I love the coffee. And you just really help me think about what's going on in my day. And I'm like, none of those things are things I'm proud of. None of those things. So cool. Okay. Noted. Noted. We got to shut you up. But anyways, it's so important. I'm joking and also being truthful.
Well, you can empower your clients with the thing to say, right?
You can, but
we talk about this a lot with our the clients that we coach to just explain, hey, here's what it is that we are doing here.
Yes. And that is why you should ask people, what it is you're doing there, because that will let you know if you're doing a good job of that or not. And
Yeah.
also it'll let you know, like, where did they find out your information? Like, what was their real reason for coming in?
Mhm.
So that's why understanding what their goals are. And even if not everyone has fitness goals, but like, okay, but what prompted you to like actually spend the time to come here today? Like,
Yeah.
why now? What is it now? Right. So really kind of get in their head, because that's the best way for you to meet other people like them.
Yep. Yeah. And to get to know, who your actual person is.
Yeah. And it's not a cartoon character. This is a real person, as we know from Hillary Hartling. It's a real person. So ask real people.
Call back. Hillary
Yeah.
Hartling.
Episode.
Oh, good luck. I don't know.
It was December of when we launched. So I'm going to say 47, 49.
Close. 57.
What?
Yeah.
Look at me.
I
know. Someone listening is like, for the first time, I was like, I don't understand. That's so far off. Let me just tell you, I'm pretty darn close within 10 episodes most of the time. Kareen was a fluke. Okay.
All right.
What did you love?
I really enjoyed when she was talking about operating solely on emotions versus looking at, the numbers or looking at facts is what she was talking about, actually. She said it's not about how it feels or how you feel about it, because we often operate in that space where we're operating based off the way we feel, right? And she said what ends up happening is that we end up, because of the way we feel, we end up seeking evidence to support that feeling, right? Which can be a downward spiral, or you can be completely kidding yourself.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this with the doctor, Philippe Duyan.
Yes.
I'm not going to be able to recall the episode. We had him on twice, so there's two different numbers in my brain. But there's an actual brain scientific thing for this, like cognitive something.
But so, we end up trying to prove or disprove things based on how we feel, and not on what's happening around us, what's actually happening around us. And I thought that was really interesting. She actually said something really, which I thought was, she said, you have to know when you're going down that path, and you need to be able to do something to kind of snap out of it.
Cold water.
Yeah. Yeah.
An ice plunge.
Sure.
Cold shower.
Cold shower. Yeah. But she didn't mention those things, but those are options. She said when she's working with her clients, they definitely do not come up with strategies based off of feelings or hunches. Instead, they're looking at hard truths, and they're trying to find a way forward by looking at what's happening around them.
I think that's true. I mean, I think it's also important to acknowledge the feelings you're having and share them with people, so that you can also be aware of a pattern, like what sets off the feeling that you're having that is opposite of what the actual facts are, so that when you're having those feelings, you can go, oh, hold on, this is that time. Like, you gotta, we do that around the house. When we talked about this with Chris Goodman, like, you'll just be hearing me walking in the house. I'm like, I'm having a fear of success right now. I'm going to go take a shower. Like, I'm going to go like pause this out. But I wouldn't be able to do that today, where I like can literally go, oh, these feelings are going to keep me from actually paying attention to what is actually happening. They're going to derail me. They're going to make me make up products that are not for real things. So I'm aware of that now. I wasn't aware of that before, and it took me longer to figure it out. So I actually think it's really important to acknowledge them, so that you can pay attention to the hard truth. You can go seeking it out when they come up. My opinion.
Well said. All right. So finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Whitney Lee? She said, the most important thing you can do for all of y'all out there, because obviously she runs a PR firm, right? So she has a bunch of clients, and one thing I thought was interesting, actually, I'm just going to throw this in here before the bold truth, is she talked about the distinction between PR and sales. Yes. She said sales is very obviously, you're trying to generate money coming in. PR, you're trying to stay at the top of the conversation. You're trying to stay relevant.
Yes.
And so that was the first time I ever heard that
I think,
distinction.
Like, you're creating authority, like the perception of authority.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So, yeah.
But part of that staying relevant is using social media. And she said the most important thing if you're just getting started is to reject this idea of what people think you are, and that you trying to like put out content for what you think they need, and instead and instead you should be putting out content based on you being you, right? Authenticity, right? And this idea of authentic, I feel like it's overplayed, but the way that she talked about it, it's important to just be yourself. You have to be you. And what will happen organically is that you will attract people who appreciate your vibe, your personality, your nature, your, bubbliness, or, and vice versa. You're actually going to be turning away people who just don't vibe with you in that way. And that's actually okay, right? So she said you have to stop being overly manicured with photos and get into your stories daily and actually just be yourself in your stories. And then she said, figure out how you're different and talk about that on social media.
Yeah. So many great reminders. I actually did a story of me. I'm in my pajamas right now. You guys, we're recording this in my pajamas. I put them on at 4:30 today. And then I was like, oh, I haven't done a video in this outfit for Tabby yet. And so I was like, all right. So I did a little story. I'm like, so I filmed 2 workouts and I needed to change out the sweaty clothes. So I put on my pajamas at 4:30. We're just going to stick in that for the rest of the day. And I did it. And they're like, oh, we love this. You should be pajamas all day. And they shared it. And I'm like, you know what? That is actually so much more fun. It really, really is. It's so much easier. It's so, we get in our heads like, oh my God, what does this background look like? The house, whatever. But it's like, people actually just really like want to see who you really are. And it's way more fun that way. So I really love her advice there. I loved in her Be It action items to continually put yourself out there. She said it is really important you pursue opportunities. Too often people are waiting for the opportunities to come their way. Pursue them. Send out pitches. Gaia is sitting on a pitch right now for earned media coverage, partnerships, speaking engagements, podcast tours, like just wherever you're wanting to be seen based on who you want to serve. So remember podcasts, if your peeps are over a certain age, God bless them. They're still not here yet. We're working on it. Gaia is sitting on a pitch.
She's at a certain age.
She is a lady of a certain age.
She's now barking at nothing.
Yeah, she barked at a bolster today, you guys.
She did.
So at any rate, that is the Be It action item, which I really, really love. We're just going to talk over Gaia because it's okay. She also said to offer value, and this is really, really important. So when you reach out to a podcast, or by the way, if you're listening to this and you're about to pitch to me, please do not tell me how amazing you are. You have to tell me how amazing what you have to share on my podcast is for my listeners. And so whenever I pitch to be on podcasts, I'm very specific on like, hey, I heard your podcast is about this. Here's what I could talk about to support your listeners and your mission. So make sure you're very clear on like how you actually benefit the people that you're pitching to, because they get pitched out all day long. Of course you want them to talk about you, but they've earned that audience. So you have to make sure that you actually are supporting that connection they have with the audience. And then she said, the best angle, focus on giving, educate and give without asking for anything in return. It will come back to you. We had Rory Vaden on last month and he is very big on this. He, in fact, he talked about how he just gave so much advice to Lisa and somebody Bilyeu that they, don't hit me. Tom, thank you guys. That they were like, we have to pay you. Like we actually have to pay you for this. So like you have to just like focus on the service and it all comes back. That's how the world works. All right. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for listening to me, Brad, Gaia, and of course this podcast. We're so grateful for you. Truly, really, I can't believe we're about to hit the 300 episode.
I know, it's kind of insane.
It's insane. Claire Solly was like, do you realize I just listened to episode 250? That means you're going to be at 300 really quickly. And I'm like, oh shit. Yes, we are. Do we need... Maybe we'll figure out how to use this soundboard over here before then. Anyways, we are so grateful. Thank you for sharing this podcast to someone you know who needs to hear it. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is produced and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Chofi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals and Semena Velazquez for our transcriptions.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all the content to our website, and finally to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.